Hi everyone, my name is Emmanuel Polychronis. Today I'm going to show you how to do a composition of the sun setting over a couple of buildings in the foreground by using a DSLR with a full aperture solar filter. Now, what is a full aperture solar filter? This is what it is. Here it is. This is a full aperture solar filter, and how it's made is that is called beta solar film, and you can buy that from astronomical stores around Australia. You can buy it online. And this is another adapter that you can buy, which screws on the end of your lens. If you've got a skylight filter, it screws into that. And this is MDF board, and these are two clips. Basically, you cut a square of MDF, possibly about 4mm thick. Here it is here attached to my DSLR. It's screwed it on to the skylight filter with the adapter. You've got two MDF boards here, about 4mm thick. Now, in between that is the beta film. And obviously you've got to cut a hole equal to the diameter of the adapter that you buy, which the adapter is this thing here. So that goes over the front of the camera at all times. When you are doing solar imaging, always got to have a filter covering the lens, otherwise you will damage your lens and you will also damage the inside of your camera. It's not very safe to photograph the sun without a filter. Okay, so let's get started. What I'm trying to do is create a solar composition of the setting sun over a foreground object. And here is the end product. This is in Brisbane, and this is my base image with this building and the other building there in the foreground and the Brisbane River, the ferry. I use that as my base image. These are all the individual images I took of the sun. One thing to remember while doing this is when you first set up and take your base image at the start, or you can take your base image after the sun is set. What I did in this instance was take a photo of the sun after it's set, and I use that as a base image, but you don't have to. You can use a base image before the sun drifts into your field of view. So this is a photograph taken of the sun with the solar filter on, homemade solar filter at 10-minute intervals. I then blended them into the base image and created this composition. And you can see here the sun set behind the screen and behind the building. Anyway, that was the end result. Now, let's start. What you've got to do is you've got to take a foreground image, and my foreground image is this one. It hasn't been amended or anything like that. I took that after the sun went down. You can also take that before the sun drifts into the field of view. It's up to you. But in this case, I chose to photograph a base image after the sun had gone down. Now that image is at 28mm lens at f5.0, and that's at a shutter speed of 1/1250th, 1 in 1250 So it's a very quick shot, and that's shot at ISO 400. Now it's important that when you are set up, you never move the tripod and you never move the camera. It has to stay still. Otherwise, you're not going to get all these images of the sun lining up. You'll get the sun over here or over here or over there, and it's too difficult to get it to work. So never move your tripod and camera while doing this. Now my sole images were taken with the filter on, and they were taken taken at the same shutter speed at 1 in 1,600th of a second. So 1 on 1600 shutter speed, and the ISO was at 400, and I used a 28mm lens at f5.0. So all those images are taken at the same settings, and as you can see, my base image, the only difference was the shutter speed. Everything else was the same. So the idea is to set up your camera on a tripod before the sun drifts into your field of view, and when it does drift, you then start taking the sequence of images until it sets below the horizon. Now I use my camera in vertical mode. It wasn't set in horizontal landscape, it was set in vertical. I just adjusted my tripod for me to have a vertical aspect. Now, what size image of the sun ends up on your film, and what size field of view do you end up with? Well, I've got a publication that I downloaded from the website, and this is a table. You can download this from the internet, and it tells you how big a field of view you have if you use a full frame camera or a APS-C camera, which is my camera. Mine's a Canon 60D. I use a 35mm lens. It is telling me that my field of view is 26 degrees in the x-axis and 39 degrees in the y-axis. That is how big the rectangle is in the sky. And how big the sun shows up on the film, on the image, is 0.3 millimeters. Down here it tells you if you have an alternative focal length, you can work out your field of view. Anyway, so I used the 28mm lens, and my field of view was 33 degrees in the x-axis and 49 degrees in the y, 49 in the vertical and 33 in the horizontal. 0.2 millimeter is the size of the moon of the image if you were to print it out. Okay, so I used 28mm lens in this exercise, and I chose a 1 in 1600 shutter speed for all the solar images. So what I did was I went and set up in the field. I chose a nice foreground, which was that building, just bring up the final image again. I used this building and that building, and I set my camera in not landscape mode but vertical mode, and then I took a shot at every 10-minute intervals with the same settings. Okay, now I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this. Now what you do is you open up your image with some imaging processing software. You may have GIMP, or you may have another photo processing software other than Photoshop, but I use Photoshop because I'm familiar with it. I haven't used GIMP, or I haven't used any other photo processing software, so apologies for that. But I assume that it'll be similar. That my demonstration I'll show here, that it should be similar to other programs. Okay, so let's open with Photoshop, my base image. This is Photoshop CS5. It's going to take a while. Still thinking. Oh, there it is. Open image. Now I've shot in RAW format, right? That's the best format to shoot in because you haven't lost all the data. If you shoot in JPEG mode or any other sort of mode, it compresses the information and you lose data. I always shoot in RAW. So this is the RAW image, And this is going to form the base layer for all the other sun shots to come into. And let's open up the first. Haven't made any adjustments to this yet. I'll do that last. Anyway, let's open up all our solar images that we took at the same settings. 1 second. I'll just go back to my desktop. Solar composition, solar images. Now, my first one was this one. Obviously, in the logical sequence, it's numbered first all the way to last up there. So my first image, I'm going to open that up. I'm not going to do anything to it yet. I'm just going to open it. You can adjust these. You can adjust the exposure, the brightness, and the contrast. It's up to you, and the adjustments are done here. But I'm not going to do any adjustments yet. So what you do is you go to select all. So I'm selecting all of that frame. Edit. I want to copy it. And then I go to here, back into my base image. Edit. Paste. Now, see how that's come up normal? That's that layer there. See? That's that layer. That's the base layer. And this is the other layer. It's on top now. And it's in normal. Well, you go to here. Make sure you're in design. Or you can be in essentials. In this case, I'll go in essentials. Normal. You press lighten. And what that does, it just gets rid of all the other data and keeps the lighter data that is brighter than the base image. So there is the sun. There it is. It's come in. And you can see how that is a halo. You can adjust the exposure. See that? I'm turning it on and off. On and off. To get rid of that halo, I then go and adjust the exposure back into here. But I'm not going to do that in this case. I'm just going to leave it like that. I'm happy with that. So then you just keep going and you open up your rest of your solar images. Make sure they're in sequence. Open image. Then you go to select all. Again, edit, copy, back to my base layer, edit, paste. Then you go, okay, there's layer 2. But then I've got to go and open this and go down to lighten. There you go. You just keep going. Keep going until your last image. I'm not going to repeat the process because it's just repetitive and I'll just be wasting time. So I'm going to go to my last image before it's set behind the building, which is this one. I'm going to go open image. You can see how the sun is not as bright at this time. It's become yellow because of the dust, and you can't see a halo around that. I'm just zooming in and out. Anyway, again, select all, edit, copy, back to your base, edit, paste. Okay, there's layer 3. I'm going to go to lighten. There it is. We can just see it there. Now, what I'm going to do with the base, obviously, I'm going to have to adjust the base. And to do that, click on background, image, adjustments. I'll try adjusting the brightness, contrast, the levels. I'll see how I go. Now, when you adjust the levels, you never move this slider and you never move that one. So that's making it darker if I go that way and lighter if I go that way. So I'll probably just leave it at that. We can't see the last image, but it's still there. So what you do is, you then go to I mean, it is there, but we can't see it because it's too bright, the base. But it is there. So I'm going to have to make adjustments to the exposure of this layer. I click on it, and then I go Image, Adjustments, Exposure. See that? I brought it up to 2. You can see that now. I might stay at 1 or 1.5. That's up to you. But I'm going to leave it at probably 2. Personal preference. Okay. Now I've adjusted the levels in the base. And I adjusted the exposure last frame. So there it is. Obviously you'll have dots going all the way through there. If everything went to plan and you didn't move your camera, that is what happens. And then if I'm happy with that, File, Save As. Always save it as a TIFF and a copy. That saves all the data. You haven't lost anything. And just go Save. I'm just going to cancel it because I've got to rename it. File, Save As, TIFF as a copy, and I'm going to call that Demo 1.tiff. Save, and then you go OK. You don't adjust anything in here. It's going to increase the file size. There it is. The final image is here. So I open up Demo. I'll open up with my preview app. And there it is. There's the final image without all the others in there. So that looks pretty good. And also, there's my image. I've saved it as a TIFF. I want to also save it as a JPEG. By doing that, I'm going to compress it. I'm going to lose data. However, I'm going to be able to send it to people much easier, as it won't be as big in file size. Just go OK. And there you go. Just shut that down. I don't have to save it. Now there's my demo 1, and I forgot to call it demo. Apologies for that. But here is the final image. It's only 1.7 megabytes in size, so I can send it to friends, and that's it. That's how it's done. I hope this helps. Yeah, thank you very much. Bye for now.